Bueno, clase, hoy vamos a hablar sobre los números en español. So let's start from the beginning. En español, 0 es cero. Pretty easy. Here we have 1 through 10. Now, I assume that most of you taking this course have already heard these numbers and you may already have 1 through 10 memorized, but let's start from the beginning just so everyone is on the same page. So as you are taking this course, please repeat after me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, here you have 0 through 10 on the left, which we just went over. Now, I assume that for most of you, 11 to 20 will be something new or something you may have heard before but aren't quite familiar with. So we're going to go over it, and again, please repeat after me. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so this is a lot of memorization that you will have to do, especially for 11 through 20. These are words that you will have to memorize in order to know all of your numbers. Okay, here's another list, 21 to 30. As you can see, when you look at the word 21 for 21, you can see the root of 20, which means 20, and uno means 1. So when you put those together, 20 and 1 would be 21. So you can see a pattern here. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So as I mentioned, you can see a pattern here. However, the spelling is a little bit different than what we'll see in other numbers. So you will have to memorize again 21 through 30. It'll be memorization because you will need to know how to spell these words. So please take a look at that, and you will be studying this more on your own, but this is the introduction to 21 through 30. Another thing I wanted to point out to you is when I was pronouncing 21, as you can see, it starts with a V for Victor in English. In Spanish, whenever you pronounce a V, you want to think of it almost as a soft B as in boy in English. So you're never going to want to say 21, 22, because that would be incorrect. In Spanish, the V is pronounced more 21, almost as if it was a B at the beginning. So let's go over that one more time. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So again, the V sound sounds more like a B when you think about it in English terms. And when you see any words that start with a B or a V in Spanish, you're always going to pronounce them as if it were a B as in boy in English. Okay, here we have a pattern that should be true so that you can learn it a little bit easier. When you look at 31 through 39, 41 through 49, 51 through 59, etc. in Spanish, there's going to be a set pattern, as I mentioned. So as you can see, you see the base, so 30 means 30, and then you say y uno, which literally means 30 and 1. Then you'll see 30 and 2, 30 and 3. So for the rest of the numbers in Spanish, you should be able to follow this pattern. And that way, since you've already learned the word 30 for 30, and you've already learned 1 through 9 in Spanish, which you already know is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That way it should make it a little bit easier for you to learn these higher numbers. So again, it should be a pattern from here on out of the base, which is 30 for 30, or if you're talking about 41 through 49, you'll have a different base, but you will always add y uno or y dos, y tres to make it the higher number. So I'm going to go over this one. Please repeat. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. So again, it literally is just saying 30 and the other number. So pretty simple. So here you have the example of 41 and 42 on the top right. So if you wanted to say 41 or 42, you would say 40, which is the base for 40, y uno, 42. Same with the 50s. 51 is 50 y uno. 52 is 52. Okay, so you will need to know the bases in order to follow that pattern. So here I have a slide called Counting by Tens. So I would love it if you could memorize all of these. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, one more thing that we're going to learn in this chapter is about math. So when you're talking about math in Spanish, you're going to need to know the vocab for adding, subtracting, dividing, all the mathematical terms. So here's a little chart for you to memorize with the symbols. And I'm going to say the words. Please repeat them so that you get the pronunciation. Más, por, menos, dividido por, son. Okay. Now, if you turn to your books, on page 14 in your book, you should see Ejercicio 1-8. And they give you an example to follow. So the modelo is your example. 15 más 5 son 20. 15 plus 5 equals 20. So instead of having you do this exercise on your own after just learning your numbers, we're going to do this in class. So just follow along the best that you can. Número 1. 10 más 16 son 26. Número 2. 14 por 2 son 28. Número 3. 35 dividido por 5 son 7. Número 4. 60 dividido por 5 son 12. Número 5. 100 menos 25 son 75. Número 6. 30 más 57 son 87. Número 7. 33 por 3 son 99. Número 8. 11 por 4 son 44. Número 9. 90 dividido por 6 son 15. Y el último, last one, número 10. 17 por 4 son 68. Okay, so hopefully those numbers are starting to make sense to you. I know, like I said, a lot of the smaller numbers are probably already in your vocabulary, but if you can just start practicing with these, refer to the chart in your book, which lists all the numbers and the vocab. You will need to memorize this, as we will be doing a lot of exercises using numbers in this class. So gracias, and I look forward to learning more.